I thought that was. What is it? What was that theme tune that went? You've been framed.
Is that not smart? Yes, it is. I was thinking of smarts, but you're right. It was. Yeah. Yeah. So if there is just a constant, very quietly in the background of all this recording, it is a fan in the room because I'm sweating my peanuts off over here. I've got it set on 2, not 3, not full, because I feel like that might be obnoxious. I've got it set on 2. iTunes.
I too have it set on 2.
iGo by Toyota. Sponsors T4. Okay. Let's do it! Welcome to episode 9 of, what's it called? Did you want me to say, are we spelling it out? I don't know, is that the...
Do plosives.
I'm going to take a cue from that. You're just going...
No.
Oh, I see. Okay, cool. Welcome to Push It. It got there in the end. Welcome to Pushing Buttons, ladies and gentlemen. What a way to kick things off. That was a great start. How you doing, Mark? I think that was a good sign that we're overheating slightly.
Yeah, just a tad. Last week, you apologised that you forgot to put up acoustic stuff, and you were worried it was going to be a bit ringy.
Oh yeah.
This week, I refused to turn off my fan because it's pushing 33 degrees here in the UK. This week, I think we're both using fans. So instead, we're going to apologise if it's a bit windy.
Oh, that's smart. Yeah, well, it's 30 degrees here in Manchester, and you're further down south, so I can only assume it's towards maybe 34.
We've not pushed 34 today. Yeah. Although it feels hotter today, so I don't really understand that.
It's
humid as well.
It's humid. It's sweltering. I need to get outside and water my pepper plants. That's something I've got on the to-do list for today.
Chilies or bell peppers?
Just bell peppers. I think we'll see what happens. My dad basically gave me them, said, listen, I've got 2 pepper plants going. Do you want them? And I said, yeah, I'll take them. I'll leave them outside and see what happens. But I forgot to water them today.
We have to plant them.
No, they were already grown into little plants. But so I'm just kind of taking over, nurturing them and kind of see them into adulthood, basically. Anyway, enough about the bloody pepper plants, Mark. What we got on today's show? What are we doing?
On today's show, we've got the news, another top 10, what we've been playing, and our deep dive into 3 years of Nintendo Switch ownership.
Indeed,
that's today's show.
We've been talking about doing this for a little while now, and we've finally got a bit of space because there's no huge announcements going on in the world of gaming. So we thought we'd talk about some Nintendo Switch, a Nintendo Switch. I don't know why Mario says Nintendi, but that's kind of how I feel he would say it.
Nintendi. Couldn't find the little break.
That's where I live. I live on that break, man. So yeah, like you said, first out, first come, first serve. What have you been playing
this week? I've been playing Fall Guys.
Is that Fall Guys?
That was an approximation of the theme tune that doesn't really sound quite like that.
I haven't heard it yet, so that's all I've got to go by. And I flipping loved it, man. I flipping loved it.
The theme tune, not the theme tune, but the music in the game is pretty fun, pretty banging. Yeah. If you're a PS5 owner and you
PS4?
purchase... sorry.
It's not out yet, flipping,
eh? Yeah. If you're a PlayStation 4 owner and you subscribe to the monthly PlayStation Plus, you can get this game for free. If you're playing on Steam, that'll be £15.99 of your British pounds.
Okay.
Yeah, a load of my friends were playing this. I was like, gone then, I needed an excuse because I like the look of it. And it's basically a 60-player battle royale total wipeout style game where you play as jelly beans with arms and legs that you can customize.
Oh.
It's very silly. It's a lot of fun.
From what I've seen, it looks like some like Nintendo mini games kind of thing. It looks like loads of Mario Party mini games. Am I right in thinking that?
I mean, I've heard a couple of people say that, but they don't feel or play like Mario Party mini games. If you know what I mean. But if you remember Total Wipeout on BBC with Richard Hammond,
yes,
it's like running across like foam obstacles and that sort of thing. There are other games where it's like football and you're just like trying to bat the ball, or collecting eggs like Hungry Hippos, or stealing tails off each other's bottoms and stuff like that. But the joy of it really, apart from the fact it's very colourful, and there's lots of silly noises all the time. Noises going on, is the fact that you can like grab other players and like jump off their heads and
a
like
little bit of tomfoolery.
Yeah, you can kind of ruin what they're doing. And there's lots of obstacles. Like there's one where you have to find the fake doors, and obviously if you don't find the fake one, you just go headfirst into a brick wall.
I think I've seen a bit of that gameplay. That reminds me of Takeshi's Castle a little bit.
Oh, it's very Takeshi's Castle. So, like, yeah, the doors get, like, smaller. So you get these pinch points where you've got, like, 30 people all going, like, just trying to get through these tiny gaps to some hilarity. So it's, like, it's great, but I'd say it is too expensive for what it is.
Yeah.
However, we're living in the hope that they're just going to pile in loads of content. Just more. It just needs more rounds and more levels.
Yeah.
More activities.
Yeah.
But as a silly jump in, play a few rounds, get a party of 4 going, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, if obviously not being a PS4 owner, I can't get into it, and I'm not. I was thinking about playing it on Steam, but obviously, yeah, 15 quid. I'm not quite ready to spend that yet. But if it comes to Switch, I'll definitely get it, or it might even come to Xbox Game Pass. You never know. But I know they've voiced feelings that they do want to bring it to other platforms at some stage, but I don't think it'll be for a little while yet. Anything else you've been playing?
I've been playing Horizon Zero Dawn.
It's made its way to the PC.
It has. Not a great start for a lot of people. I've got a fairly high-end PC, so I haven't had any huge troubles. So on launch day, I crashed during a cutscene and during gameplay, and I had a couple of visual glitches. But I assume overnight they must have snuck a very small little patch in, because I've had none of that since.
Yeah.
So the main problem with it at the moment is the fact that it's just not very well optimized. So just to use two of my friends' PCs are even more high end than mine. I'm running for anybody that knows what this means, I'm running a GTX 1080. They're running the newer cards, and they're running the top end of the prosumer cards, not including like the Titan series and all that stuff. So they're running 2080 Ti's, which are just monstrous cards. They're about £1,200 new. But with that in mind, I'm running at medium settings. So I'm running at the same settings that it's what they call original settings, i.e. what it was running on the PlayStation 4 visually. Okay. I'm running at that at 2K resolution, and I just about get 59 to 65 FPS, which just isn't good. As in, it's still better than what a standard PS4 would run it at, especially at the high resolution. But for the PC I have, it should be better.
Right.
And comparison, my friends with the 2080 Ti's, they're getting around 75 to 80 FPS. And considering those cards are just absolutely monstrous, they should be above 100 FPS. So it's just not optimized at all.
Shame.
And our good friend Jiggy, he's got a slightly more entry level, like decent sort of medium level PC.
Yeah.
It was unplayable the first day.
Oh wow. Okay.
So if you're not sort of into the enthusiast level stuff, you're gonna struggle to run this game at the moment, which is a real shame. I'm not going to go into what I think of the game just yet, because it's one of those games where it's been lauded so highly. I think it deserves more of my time before I give an opinion. I have a few gripes. But in general, what I will say is it is pretty. The characters are great. The story's bobbing along quite nicely, and I'm eager to get further into it because I'm one of these people that just gets absolutely sidetracked by side quests. So
I'm the same.
So I should be, going and cracking on with some of the story elements and getting to see more of the sort of robot monsters that are around. But because I'm just like, cool, I'm going to upgrade all my pouches and stuff. And
yeah, I was going to say, does it have like leveling and XP sort of progression?
Yeah, it has levels. It has 4 like trees that you can build your character into. One is based on stealth. One is based on like attack and defense. Another one is based on gathering and that sort of thing. And another one was added in a later DLC, but on the PC version, you get it straight away unlocked.
Okay.
Basically, one of the complaints with the original game was that you can have too many resources and no way of like getting rid of them. So it's a way of breaking down resources for money, essentially.
Okay.
So you get the 4 trees, yeah. And you can upgrade your weapons and all that sort of thing, and there's crafting for ammo and that sort of thing. I'm enjoying it so far, but I'm going to hold like my final thoughts until I'm either way further into it or fully completed it.
Great. Okay, well, I look forward to hearing more about it, and hopefully it starts to work a little bit better for everybody out there.
Yeah, it needs a patch. If not for me, for the players with lower NPCs that deserve better.
Oh, you heard it here first. Mark's here for you guys. He feels for you all. He pities you. Let's say that.
I wouldn't go that far. What about you, Bella? What have you been playing this week?
So I picked up a few games on Game Pass, and one of them, well, the one that I've been playing loads of, which is it's very similar to Enter the Gungeon in the way that it's like you dip in, and it's a roguelike game, and you just get in, do a run, die, but carries over some of the loot to like upgrade your character and stuff. So it's called Undermine, and it is very similar to Enter the Gungeon. And basically, you go into a mine, you go down the mine, different levels, but on each mine, each level of the mine, there's loads of loot and money and gold, and you basically have like an axe that you can throw and hit enemies with, and you can upgrade your axe, and you look for relics on each floor, and the relics give you like little bonuses and boosts to your character, and then you go down far enough and you have to fight a boss. It's very fun, and it's got a kind of like Game Boy Advance art style, I'd say.
Is it 2D side scrolling rather than like the Enter the Gungeon?
No, it is top down. It's top down.
Oh, it is top down. Okay.
So it's very similar to Gungeon in a lot of ways, and the ways the rooms work. And you have to. It's similar as well. Like you have to collect items to be able to unlock certain doors. Like you have to pick up keys and bombs. So it's a bit Zelda-like in that, like old school Zelda, in that you find keys to open doors, and doors will have loot in. So yeah, I've just been playing that, and I keep saying to myself that I'll stop it and pick up another game, but I keep getting drawn back into it. So it has that similar kind of addictive loop that Gungeon has. It is on Xbox. I think it's pretty much on everything. I know it's on Switch as well. Okay. I know it's on Steam, and I assume it's on PlayStation. I don't know. So that's been a lot of fun.
Do you play as the mole from the end of The Incredibles / the start of The Incredibles 2?
I think he's a DLC unlockable character.
The Underminer! I am beneath you, but no one is beneath me!
Great. No, he's not in the game. That's a different intellectual property entirely. And apart from that, I've just kind of been dipping my little pinky toe into a couple of other games. Been carrying on Halo 2 Master Chief Collection and playing a bit of Halo 3 online competitive multiplayer, which you can't go wrong with. Slayer, Halo 3 is endless fun. Mm-hmm. And also a bit more No Man's Sky. I found a spaceship on a planet, and it was really, really broken, but it was way better than the spaceship I have. So I'm working to fix it and get it back in running order. So that's pretty much what I've been doing. But mainly I'd say my top hit of the weekend. If you like those sort of roguelike, addictive game loop games, I'm really enjoying Undermine. And that is what I've been playing.
Awesome. Should we crack on with the news?
Let's crack on with the news.
Excellent. That was just, it was so like, there was just no connection for me. So it just went.
Let's
really
hope
bad.
it sounds good on this end.
Okay, first up, leak suggests Crash Bandicoot 4 will be coming to the Switch. A placeholder code was found on the game's website. I think that's not surprising. I won't be able to play Crash 4 on release because I don't have a console. It's not coming to PC just yet. And also there seems to be no, apart from this leak, nothing pointing towards the Switch release, or at least a date. So if you are a Switch owner and you're like me, you haven't got a console to play it on, hopefully if you're a Crash fan, we'll see it soon.
That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
That would be nice. It's funny, like Crash games are just taking a while to like spread around. I don't really understand why that is. The trilogy took ages to get to PC.
Yeah.
It did come. Crash Team Racing is on Switch, Xbox, and PlayStation, but not on Steam.
Yeah.
Don't know why. And Crash 4 is having a console release and isn't on Switch or PC yet. So just watch those spaces, I guess.
Yeah,
a bit strange, but there you go.
I assume it's a similar state for the trilogy that it was for the Switch in the and PC, that a separate studio ported it to the Switch, then made it for the PS4, I think. So I don't know if it's a thing that they have to a separate studio is doing it for Switch and for PC. I might be wrong, but yeah, it won't be out at the same time as it is on the PS4 anyway. But fingers crossed, Crash 4, because if it does come to Crash 4, I'll definitely give it a go on Switch, because it does look a lot of fun. And speaking of Crash 4, Mark, I don't know if you managed to catch the PlayStation State of Play that happened last week.
I did. That is the next piece of news. That happened. We'll go into it very briefly because we don't want to take up too much time. It was fairly underwhelming. Yep. A lot of sort of indie titles. There's Splunky 2 coming. More Godfall gameplay, which is great to see, just because no one really knew what it was. It's basically Darksiders, and I'm not interested. Temtem is coming over to PlayStation, which is the Pokemon sort of copy. Temtem. The Pokemon copy that's originally released on Steam, extremely broken and unplayable. So good for that.
He said jovially.
There's a bunch of other stuff that you can go look into yourself. More Bug Snacks. Anything else big? Vader Immortal, which is a Star Wars VR PlayStation VR game.
Oh, they announced that all of the new Hitman stuff is coming to VR as well, so you can assassinate people even more realistically.
Absolutely. So yeah, go check it out if you haven't already. But yeah, circling back to Crash, they showed more gameplay and stuff, didn't they?
They showed a big chunk of gameplay, which is actually just looks really fun, and I like that the different characters seem to bring different abilities and that kind of thing. I mean, the main thing that I thought was really interesting was that they showed that I can't remember exactly how it's framed, but you can go back and replay levels, and they'll have a totally different like filter or environment, or what's the word I'm looking for? Like elements put into it. So a normal level will be totally underwater now, and that kind of thing. So that seems like an interesting addition for the completionists who like to go back and replay levels.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and rewatch what they called it, but there's like some of the levels will have like a cartoony film grain, so it looks like a 60s like cartoon. Sometimes it adds like what is it when you revert the colors? I forgot what that's called.
Inverted?
Well, it's got like a color inverting effect.
Yeah.
And all the levels will be reversed as well. So you have what would have been like a left-hand jump will be a right-hand jump, stuff like that. So yeah, they're just trying to add lots of replayability. The previous Crash games had similar things where you'd go back, you need to go back through to collect all the gems and the relics and time trial stuff. So they're expanding on that. I'm also going to go ahead and actually say that I think I'm getting more on board with the Crash redesign.
Oh, he's finally coming around, is he?
It's bothered me less. I don't like the direction they took with the cartooniness. So one of the devs said that they were going for like old cartoons of the day. I mean, that's not really what Crash was trying to do in the first place. So I still don't really like that. But again, it's not going to affect the gameplay. And in terms of the Crash redesign, I still think the Trilogy one was just done perfectly. But in terms of the way it looks, I've come full circle. I don't mind it too much. I think Coco definitely looks better anyway. Yeah, it's growing on me. The animation thing, less so. It's a bit cartoony and gaudy. It's not really how Crash was. But because they've also shown more gameplay, I'm drawn to it more. I think so. I'm sort of coming down to that. I think
good stuff,
which is a positive thing.
Well, good. Well, we'll see what the game's like shortly. I can't remember what the release date for it was for the PS4, but I feel as though it's not that far away.
It's 2nd of October.
There you go. I knew it was fairly soon. Next piece of news is that the long-rumoured second tertiary console in the next generation for Xbox, the Xbox Series X, which will be a sort of cheaper, lower-spec version of the Xbox Series X, seems to be all but confirmed due to somebody managing to get their hands on a next-gen Xbox controller. Who knows how they did it? Apparently, they bought it from someone who may have stolen it from some kind of warehouse. So that's all above board and great. Anyway, it looks incredibly legit. And on the side of the box, it has a list of all the devices that the controller is compatible with, including the Xbox Series X and S. So it looks as though that console is going to exist. And it's going to be interesting to see exactly what the specs of it will be versus the PS4, because the PS5 is going to have a second controller that is console that is digital only. So from everything that Sony said, it looks as though it's going to be the same console but just totally discless. Whereas rumors seem to be saying the Xbox Series S might be slightly lower specs to make it a lot cheaper than the Series X, which will be very interesting because how different will the Series S be to current consoles that are out there at the moment? So I'm very intrigued.
Yeah. I personally don't see the point in that at all. Obviously, it means it's affordable if you're just looking to play new games and you don't have a 4K TV or blah, 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 I guess. But like I always expect, graphics, physics, all the rest of it to be an upgrade. So yes. I wouldn't want to make what would feel like a side grade.
Yes.
I'd rather spend the extra 50, 60, 100 pounds. We'll see when it comes out and see what those specs are. It also slightly proves my point about it very much starting to feel more like a PC. Because obviously when games are developed for PC, you've got people that have got, lower end, they've just built their first computer or bought a pre-built that's not too expensive, or you've spent 1,300 quid or whatever it is on something beast mode or £3,000 or something. So games have to be developed with options within the game menu so you can turn stuff off, turn things down. And as PC players, we're used to doing that. You don't normally get that in a console. So I expect what we'll see from Xbox Series X games is actual in-menu graphics options.
Do you think?
Yes, I think we will. I think we'll see a more PC-like menu in the options that says, slap this down to medium. Maybe even there's an auto detect, so it goes, you're playing on a Series S. We're going to put this on medium for you, or something like that.
Yeah, I assume it'll
turn down the shadows, turn off the ray tracing, turn down some of the dynamic lighting, maybe some post-processing, and then you'll be able to play presumably at 60 FPS 1080p sort of level for less money. So that's just a guess, not confirming that. That's just what I'd assume is happening. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
We'll keep an eye on it, Mark.
Next up, Cyberpunk Night City Wire. Episode 2. This happened yesterday for us, and we weren't that impressed by episode 1. They've deep dived into a sort of brain. What do they call it? Brain fart.
Brain dance.
Brain dance, which was basically like a VHS player in your head. So you could sort of hack people's brains and see their memories.
Perv on other people while they're buying stuff at the shop.
So it was a really niche thing to show off. However, we saw more gameplay, which I was very happy with. We also got to look at all the weapons. I was very happy to see. I'm just interested to see what sort of direction they took.
Yeah.
We'll go into that in a little bit. And they also showed the focus on the 3 life paths. So you can choose between Street Kid, Nomad, or Corpo. Do you want to go into what those mean, Bellum?
So, Street Kid, someone who's raised on the rough streets of Night City. He's maybe been running around with some of the drug gangs. He's a bit rough around the edges. Nomad, someone who lives out in the Badlands, out there outside of the city in the deserts. And again, it's sort of not very refined or used to city life. And then you got the Corpo, who is very, very different to the first two in that he is high up in a big corporate company and he's lived the high life, maybe morally questionable. So those are the 3 kind of choices you can start the game as. And they were saying how it won't just affect the kind of, the opening prelude in the first chapter of the game. It will have dialogue options and also change your ability and character traits throughout the whole game, what you start with. So for example, if someone accuses you of doing something but you went down the corporate route, you're more kind of au fait with getting yourself out of situations with using your charm and your charisma and your kind of your chattiness. You get that from being a corpo. So yeah, it's something that you see a lot in RPGs, and the choices that you make before the game starts. It's a classic RPG, whether it's video games or board game mechanic. But it seems like a nice way of doing it, and they do seem really, really different. And that you do start the game in 3 totally different places, which is quite cool.
Yeah. More replayability there, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely.
Just going into the weapons very briefly. They just showed off a few features, the different sort of classes of weapons. It's kind of what you'd expect, although I would have liked to have seen more melee options. I'm hoping that you can just choose to use your fists and go in there and punch people. I'd like to see some sort of wrist-mounted things and knuckle dusters and stuff, but they haven't really gone into that yet, or maybe they're not doing it at all. I don't know. You can also have these mantis blades, which are just these blades that come out of your forearm. And they're really huge and just destroy people.
Yes.
You can use katanas. I'm assuming there will be knives as well. You can also have these, I forgot what they call them, not thermal, like a heated katana. What's the word? Not quite, but it's like a thermal katana that's super hot. Probably great for making instant toast, but not really, in my opinion, going to do a lot against a person.
That's what the name of the weapon was, wasn't it? Instant toast.
Yes, it was. Yeah. And then in terms of guns, you've got your classic kinetic weapons and then magnetic ones or energy or whatever they're called. So they showed off a shotgun that was your classic shotgun that you just pump and that's a shotgun, and then a sort of one that is electronic and magnetic and more powerful and actually adds a pushback effect to people and that sort of thing.
I saw. Was it that shotgun where the bullets follow people around the room, or was that a different gun?
No, so they showed an SMG that had some type of, I don't know whether it was on the gun or whether it was the bullets, but they were seeking. So you would, as you're aiming, you would see where the people are behind the walls, and you could shoot to the if they're behind a pillar, you would just shoot to the right, and all these bullets would go and then just go round the pillar and hit them. It's cheating, is what it is. So yeah, and they showed a magnetic or energy sniper rifle that could just wall bang people.
Yeah.
So if they're sat behind a brick wall, it would just go straight through. I'd also, as a side point, they showed a person getting shot from a balcony with one of these snipers. I would like to see more blood. It sounds bad, but it's true. I want to see more blood and more like impact.
You sicko!
I assume my mate actually said this. He said it was probably to make it more what's the word, appropriate for audiences on Twitch.
Yeah, probably.
So I'm hoping that there are options to turn that on and off, because it just looked a bit silly when
Let me turn that gore all the way up.
Well, yeah, it just looked a bit silly when it was like, look at this giant 50 cal magnetic sniper rifle. This thing can shoot through walls. Here we go. And the guy just fell over. I was like, really? But again, it's probably an option. Also, I made this comment to you and a couple of other friends. I thought the game looked better. I thought it looked sweeter and more tight. I don't know what it was. I think maybe they turned down a film grain effect. Everything looked a bit cleaner. Some shadow and lighting looked a bit better.
There was, when they started talking about the weapons, they showed the guy picking up a rifle off like a metal like workbench, and the metallic surface just looks absolutely pristine. I think it's looking really good. I'm very excited for it. I like that they seem to have a bit of a sense of humor about the guns, in terms of like, there's some like quite silly stuff going on, like the stuff that bullets can follow people around a corner. Like, it has a fun vibe to it that I quite like. It's one of these games that I keep forgetting about, and then every time I see it again, I'm like, oh crap, yeah, I can't wait for this. I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Next thing, something else that I'm really looking forward to that I do hope happens someday is I was on the website Reset Era, which has a lot of Reset Era, sorry, that has a lot of kind of gaming news and rumors and leaks and debate. And there was an article there where someone had posted a receipt for a pre-order that they'd made from Game, the UK-based video games shop, managing to pre-order the Mass Effect Trilogy remaster, saying that it is coming out on the 29th of September, so about a month and a half away from now. And of course, this is all just a bit odd because there's been no official... I mean, everyone's known that something has been happening, but there's been no official announcement whatsoever. But someone apparently went into a game shop and said, could I have the Mass Effect trilogy, please? And the guy behind the counter went, yes, coming out on 29th. And then it happened. So it's happening.
Is this place just west of Newcastle?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Oh, mate, yeah. Do you want that Mass Effect trilogy?
I've got a bit of Newcastle, but there's a bit of Brummy just slipped in.
Yeah, and it sounds like I've been eating a cheese sandwich. Anyway, so that would be nice, wouldn't it? Mass Effect trilogy, 29th of Sep. Yes, please.
Yes, please. Yeah, I love that trilogy. Great to see it back. Yeah, a little bit weird that they've not said anything. I think after the absolutely shameful display that was Andromeda, they just thought, sod it, just do it and put it out. Let's just not even mention it. Yes, the last piece of news is new FPS Battle Royale Hyperscape from Ubisoft is out today, as in the day we're recording, which is August 11th. And that's on Xbox One, PlayStation 4 and PC. So if you're looking for another Battle Royale that does something a little bit different, check out Hyperscape and see what you think.
Yeah, I'm going to try to go this evening if it is out like they say it is now. Just give it a little go, see what I think.
Is it free to play?
I believe it is free to play, yes.
Right. Maybe I will. I probably won't. That's where I'm at, to be honest.
Yeah,
if I'm being plain.
It's fair enough. I think it's free. I might be wrong. It has like a season pass and stuff like that, so I'm guessing it's free to play.
Yeah.
I might be wrong. There you go. Hyperscape Season 1 is now available for free on Xbox One, PlayStation 4 and PC. So yes, go check it out if you fancy having a crack like. Right. That's the end of the news, Mark. I don't know. I tell you what I fancy right now. Some kind of list segment where somebody tells you about their favourite games of all time. Do you know what I mean? I've got that very precise craving.
I'll tell you what, I'll put some music with it.
It's time for your top 10.
sorry, I appear to have pressed the wrong button. I don't know what that...
Oh.
Don't know what's happened there.
Hey, thanks for that, Mark. That was a nice little jingle there, wasn't it? It was a different jingle than the one we normally have. How is that?
That was sent in by top fan, top of the pops, Lawal Mohammed, who was just like, "Hey, I've got a little idea. What do you think of this?" So I gave it a little mix, and I've played it there for you. Quite like it.
You gave it to Little Mix, the pop group.
Yeah, I gave it to Little Mix, and they went, "What the hell's this?" And I said, "Sorry, wrong email."
Sorry, I just meant I was gonna give it a little mix.
Yeah,
I've confused everyone here. Hey, thanks so much for that, Lawal. If anybody else wants to give us a jingle, not just for the top 10 segment, because I picked at some point we're going to run out of top 10s to do. If anybody wants to give us, whether it's a little intro to the news, please do get in touch. We'd love to hear from you. So now we're in. Whose top 10 do we have this week?
This top 10 was sent in by one of my good friends, Ben Harrison. That he's not labelled the numbers, so I'm assuming these are in a random order, but I have a feeling one of them is his favourite, which is the first of the list. And it's the one he shouted at us for way back in like episode 2 or wherever it was.
This was Ben, I see, because I said that you were the kind of expert on this game.
Yes, and that is Abe's Odyssey. Which is a game he loves. I assume that's his favourite, but I don't know. So Abe's Odyssey there. Next up is Heavy Rain.
Yes.
What he's accidentally done is put a bad game in his top 10, which is interesting. It's a bold move.
Hey, man. Hey, apart from the memes, I thought it got pretty good reception. Obviously, apart from the memes.
Yeah. No, it was all right. It was okay. I think Detroit Becoming Human is a better game.
Yeah.
It's all right. Yeah, Heavy Rain's okay. It's just not aged particularly well for one of those type of games.
Okay, on Metacritic, it's got a 75 out of 100. So
that's pretty
decent.
I'll go with that.
Yeah, it's pretty decent. I think it was very much one of the first of its kind in that kind. Well, I mean, I might have made that up, but it was definitely quite a novel type of game, wasn't it? In that very, very story-driven, quick-time event-based game without any like major gameplay, I suppose.
Yeah, that was all right. Next up is Pokemon Blue. Excellent choice, classic. Like Pokemon Blue a lot.
That was the one I had. My brother had Pokemon Red, so we could trade.
Trade away. Give me all the starters and I'll restart the game and give you the starters. Trade away. I've got all 3 starters now. I'm OP and I need to take a beat. I've got nothing.
Trade away, Pokemon Blue. That was great.
Cheers, man.
Go away and write that all.
Pokemon Blue needs a remake. Red and Blue and Yellow all deserve... I don't know why they haven't. Just the original games, you know, those first 150
wasn't
Pokemon.
That Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Pokemon Let's Go Eevee? Isn't that what that was?
Is that what that was?
I'm pretty sure that's what that... But it just had weird gameplay where you had to throw a Pokeball and it wasn't like real battling.
Oh, okay. I'll tell you what, I'll start again. What they really need to do is go back to Pokemon Blue, Red and Yellow and remake them properly. That'd be great.
Pour some cream on that wound.
Cream? What you want is a balm.
Oh, sorry. It's double cream.
Let's crack on, shall we? Halo 2 up next.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I think Halo 2 is great.
I think it's brilliant.
Yeah, I think it's really good. And the online was certainly banging as well. As I said last week, I think a lot of people's favourite would have been Halo 3. So it's interesting to see a shout for Halo 2 here.
I think Halo 2 was very much the like trendsetter and very much the like, now they found their stride. This is what Halo is. And I think it was the revolutionary game and it was huge. But then Halo 3 just kind of refined and made everything better, and every aspect of it was a little bit better than Halo 2. But I think if you were to say like a game-changing game, Halo 2 is that, definitely.
I agree and concur with every single word that passed your lips. Next up is GTA Vice City. We had an interesting chat about GTA Vice City when Dan Mayer was on the show.
With Big Dan, we did, yes.
Yeah, because we sort of... Actually, I think Dan and I were kind of in agreement. I was a little bit confused why Vice City had such a following when San Andreas was a lot better, I think, and also GTA 5 is absolutely banging, story-wise. So, yeah, Vice City getting love there again. Do you think it's just purely nostalgia based on the music and the 80s vibes?
Yeah, maybe.
Well, I mean, discussed.
That and just everything about it, the aesthetic, that kind of neon HUD, everything about it, the UI. It's just, I think it was just a really fun look
big
back. Big hair, big jackets, everything, the soundtrack. It's just the vibe, GTA Vibe City, more like. Yeah, it's not the best of the series, but it's one that has a huge fan base, and I think you're right. I think it is a lot to do with that nostalgia attached to it.
Next up, this is a great shout. I love this game. It's Croc, Legend of the Gobbos. And I'm going to say right now, I'm putting the theme tune at the end of the show because it's got such a good theme tune. Ba-ba, ba-ba-ba-ba. It's an absolute tune. It's incredible.
Who needs the real soundtrack? Mark, I'm going to level with you here. I've never played Croc.
That's fair enough, mate. It's a little bit. It wasn't like one of the big platforming mega stars from back in the day.
Is it PlayStation only?
It was PlayStation 1 only, I think. Yeah. It could have been on. You know what?
Should we find out?
Yeah, should we have a little look? Croc, Legend of the Gobbos, PS4. Someone's written in Google. I'm wrong. PlayStation, Sega Saturn, Microsoft Windows, and Game Boy Color. But obviously the Game Boy Color version would have been very different because all Game Boy games in the day were different games. I really liked this game. It just had a really nice, sweet vibe to it. Croc himself is just a very sweet character, and he'd do like a spin move, like a tail slap, and he'd go "Whoop-pow!" and then like you do a little like stomp move, and you go "Kasplat!" and stuff like that, and it was great. The only issue with it is tank controls, so it's not really like it just does not play as fluidly as your Crash Bandicoots and your Marios and your Banjos and all that good stuff. But it added to the difficulty level. Again, I don't know whether that was what they were going for or tank controls is all they could manage. We'll never know. But it's just a very sweet game with great music and silly sound effects, and I enjoyed it a lot.
Great. I've just looked up on Google Croc, and whenever someone's talked about Croc, I've always had Gex in my head. Do you remember Gex?
Oh, right. Yeah, Gex is kind of...
Gex, Enter the Gecko. So whenever somebody talks about Croc, that's who I picture. So now I've had to Google in, and I've been wrong all this time. I'm putting my hands up. I'm going to take up the list from here, Mark. I'm doing it. Next up, after Croc, we've got Don't Starve Together. I've never played Don't Starve, but I know it was huge for streamers. Have you played it?
Yeah, I played it. It's got a very sort of... I don't know how you describe it really, but it's a very sort of hand-drawn looking sort of art style. So it's definitely got an aesthetic that's very pleasing. I'm not particularly into roguelikes. I'm not particularly into things where you have to craft.
Is it like a survival kind of thing?
It is. It's a survival sort of roguelike type vibe. I enjoyed it more playing Don't Starve Together, which was the add-on for co-op multiplayer.
Oh, so that's why he's put Don't Starve Together. Yeah,
correct.
Sorry,
yeah. So not hugely my thing, but a great game nonetheless.
Okay. Well, that's Don't Starve Together. Next up, he's put one that I have no idea anything about called 7 Days to Die. Which
this is another survival game. It's a survival horror game. I don't know a lot about it because I've not played it, but that is basically all I know. As far as I'm aware, it's on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC, and was a sort of zombie horror survival situation.
Yeah, came out back in 2013, so it's an oldie but a goodie.
I don't know how deep. Yeah, I don't know how deep the survival elements go. I don't know whether you need to keep yourself food and watered. I don't know whether you're crafting. But what I do know is there's zombies and guns. That's all I can
that's
tell
enough for me. That's interesting. Yeah, I've not. I have heard of that game, but don't know anything about it. And I like these top tens where I discover new things. So I think last week or the week before I was talking about it's good top 10, but they're all pretty obvious games. I like this top 10 because it's got a few curveballs in there. Next one, I'm a huge fan of Hitman 2. Now, I'm guessing he means the original back on the PS2. I'm assuming he means that. And if that's the case, absolutely loved Hitman 2. Such a good game. Just so much fun roaming around in those games and thinking of mad ways that you can assassinate people. Couldn't agree more with that.
I like them a lot. I prefer Blood Money, but Hitman 2 was great.
So yeah, please do confirm with us, Ben, if you meant the one on the PS2 or the new one that came out more recently. But we're making assumptions there. And finally on your list, The Last of Us. The Last of Us Part 1. Great game. Haven't played it, but watched playthroughs of it. People love the game. Incredible storytelling. Great acting. What a way to finish the top 10 list. Cheers, Ben.
Excellent game. Excellent choice. And what a lovely list.
Lovely guy?
He's all right.
Fair dues. We'll leave it at that.
Today's topic is Switch ownership and, Nintendo in general.
Nintendo.
Switch has been out for over... Should we check? How long exactly?
Don't tell me yet. I'm going to guess because I was a day one player.
Okay.
I'm going to go for 23rd of March 2017.
Dong, 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 dong. 3rd of March 2017.
Oh,
20 days off.
20 days off.
But not bad.
Damn it. Okay.
Not bad at all.
That's all right. Not bad. Yeah, so pretty much 2.5 years now.
Years.
3.5 years. Sorry, 3.5 years. That was awful, wasn't it? Yeah, pretty much 3.5 years the Nintendo Switch. Now, hasn't that flown by?
Hasn't it just?
Oh, I do love it. It's a great little console. I mean, it's not unlike all Nintendo consoles of all time in that it has its frustrations and its flaws. But what a great little machine, and just nice one, Nintendo, for that. I think.
Well done. I remember watching a lot of the sort of promotion and trailers to find out more, as we all do. I was frustrated. I didn't buy it on release, but I was frustrated when all the details were there and we saw what it was by a couple things. I think a lot of us were expecting that the dock would actually do something. It's essentially a piece of plastic with a small PCB in it that does the switching. So you can't just plug in like a USB-C to HDMI or something like that to make it work on the TV. You have to have like a little PCB thing in the way.
Yeah. So which is frustrating.
But I think some of us were expecting, is it going to offload some of the graphics? So it's more powerful when it's docked. Is it going to have some active cooling on the dock to help with that? No, it's a wad of £80 plastic with a small PCB in it. Mm-hmm. I was a little bit annoyed by that. Mm-hmm. I was also sort of suspect about what it was they were actually selling us with the dock in mind. It's a console. I mean, is it? Is it a handheld? Is it a console? Is it a tablet? It's a gaming tablet is what it is that can plug into the TV.
Yeah.
But, it doesn't matter. But like at the time, I was a bit like, well, what is this? Like,
Yeah, I seem to remember leading up to the launch, I was kind of umming and ahhing about it. And then there was a big reveal event or a big trailer that showed off a lot of stuff, and I think a lot of it was the Zelda stuff, and I was just like, I'm all in now. And they showed all of the ways in which you'd be able to play it out on the go, and I seem to remember there being this one bit where some kid had like strapped the screen to the back of someone's
headrest in the car,
like headrest in the car, and was playing it like that, and I was just thinking. That just blew my mind. I was like, wait a sec. He's playing Zelda like that. And yeah, I was just hugely sold on it. And I've had every Nintendo console since the N64
had a Wii U.
Apart from the Wii U. I was just going to give that little caveat. I just don't really think it counts. And yeah, I'm a huge Nintendo fan. And just the thought of being able to play, just their first party games was big enough for me. And then when they announced that there was all of this third party support that was going to be coming for it, this is obviously back in early 2017, I was like, holy crap, incredible. Because I remember seeing like some of the names of the studios that were listed there. And what's the name of the Dark Souls studio that's left my brain?
Ball Peen Hammer.
No.
Jacob Santicarlo.
You should know it. Dark Souls' studio.
I do.
What is it?
Remnant Halflink.
From Software. Right. So when when I saw From Software on that list, I was like, oh, holy crap! Their actual companies are supporting this console. It's not going to be the usual joke that we had seen with the Wii U. It's going to be legit, and I got really excited for it. And when I got it, it just absolutely blew me away. I put so much time into Zelda Breath of the Wild. Then we had Mario Kart. Then we had Super Mario Odyssey. Then we had Smash. And I was playing all of these indie games at the same time. And that kind of first year and a half, maybe 2 years, maybe 2 years of owning a Switch was just like, this is the greatest console I have ever owned.
It was absolutely the golden time, the golden years. Golden years. Yeah. It was a good time for it. Yeah, I mean the only other gripe I had was when I saw the size of the screen on the actual console.
Because it's got that bevel, hasn't it?
It's got a huge bezel around it, but the actual piece of plastic that sort of goes across the Switch makes it look like it's, like the whole tablet is more or less a screen, as we've come to expect from tablets of today anyway. So that was just like, what the heck? I didn't mind that it was only 720p. It should be full HD.
Yeah.
But those are the two things that bothered me. But I was sold on the actual Switch element. Despite the fact every Nintendo console goes through this, but despite the fact it's obviously less powerful than the big boys. You always know you're going to get those Nintendo IPs coming forward, and and Zelda looked superb and was superb.
Yeah.
So,
quick question: do you play mainly docked or in handheld mode?
I play mainly docked because of the screen size bothers me too much.
Yeah. Okay.
But it is great for travel. But I'd probably pick and choose the games I'm playing a bit more if I'm traveling.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would never play Zelda handheld.
Oh, really?
Whereas I know you played it. You played it mainly handheld.
Yeah, well, I barely used my dock, really, because I've had my Xbox plugged into my TV and my Switch was basically my handheld console on the road. And back when I was commuting to Birmingham from Manchester a lot on the train, that Switch came into its own, and it was just, I put so many hours just on the go playing games. And for me, I think that's where the console really shines, because I guess, playing it docked, if you've got a great game, then it makes sense. But for me, the kind of marvel of the console was being able to play your Zeldas and your Super Mario Odysseys, etc., on the go. And I think that is really where they smashed it. I totally agree with you, though, that what they need to, they should have put something in that dock to give it a bit more oomph. That just seems like a smart thing that they should have done, but you know what Nintendo are like, they don't really tend to make those kind of decisions.
Yeah, and also there are you can buy not Firewire is dead, but docks for laptops and things that can hold desktop-sized graphics cards.
Oh, right.
So this is a tangent. They plug into, you plug them into the wall, they get powered in the dock, plug them into your laptop, and it's like having,
I didn't know that.
More graphics processing power outside of your laptop.
Oh.
The problem is that there's latency. Just latency issues, because it's obviously going out via USB or whatever and then back in, and it's like, blech.
Yeah.
So I assume that would probably still be the case, even if they'd done that in the dock, and they just probably didn't want to spend the money on doing that sort of thing anyway.
Yeah,
but it was just a bit of a weird thing where it's like, it's just plastic.
Yeah, I think that's it, and I think you're right. And their terminology was always, it's a hybrid console. It's this and it's that, but in a lot of ways, Well,
it's just a tablet gaming
yeah,
console.
and I suppose with the Switch Lite, what they have done is they've said, no, this is a handheld. This is, you take it on the road. And in a lot of ways, maybe that console would be better for me. If I were to get a new Switch now, I'd be getting that just because I don't put it in the dock very much.
But the screen is even smaller.
It is an even smaller screen,
which again is a decision I don't fully support. But,
yeah. Can you imagine? Can you imagine playing like Elder Scrolls or The Witcher 3 on a tiny? Like, how would you read? I genuinely don't know
how do you read? And
it.
Also, the Switch can't handle draw distances anyway. But like, actually, just like looking at anything, would just be like, oh, you're probably missing something because you can't spot the temple or whatever it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So yeah, we've enjoyed owning a Switch. What do you think? I mean, we've kind of mentioned things like the dock and the size. What do you think they could have done better? What has disappointed you? I think a hugely obvious one is the Joy-Cons and the Joy-Con drift, which has been a curse for many Switch owners. I was actually been meaning to tell you that I need to. Mark is basically a Joy-Con technician these days, and if you order the parts, he'll fix your Joy-Con for you. And it's a pretty handy little side job he's got going on. But I need another one done because another one's broken. But I have a part for you to do it with. So yeah,
sure.
That is something that has been a huge issue. They have subsequently sort of apologized for it, and that was
it's not good enough.
and that was it.
That's all they've done. Yeah. I mean, there should have been a massive recall. There was lawsuits. They didn't obviously go anywhere. But the Joy-Cons, unfortunately, are trash. It's another thing that makes me play it less.
Yeah.
Just the fact that I know that my character or whatever is just going to wander, and that's just irritating. It also makes me again. It also informs my choice of game that I want to play on. Because if I know I need something where I need stick control or more stick control than another game, I just.
Well, yeah, I played Doom 2016 on Switch, and it was basically unplayable because my character kept looking at the floor every 2 seconds.
I mean, you can obviously solve that by buying a Pro controller, but I wouldn't want to take a Pro controller around with me.
No.
That would be for the home. Pardon me, that would be for the home.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the things they could have done better is definitely those Joy-Con issues. That is a shame. Again, I think that bezel shouldn't be there. The screen should be the size of the tablet. And I think that would be genuinely amazing. And also, it should just be full HD. I don't really get why it's 720p. If you've got it close enough to your face, you can see like the matrixing of the pixels across the screen, which is not noticeable when you're actually invested in what you're doing. But occasionally, you'll just be like, oh, I can just see the colors moving across the screen. It's not superb quality.
Yeah, it is a shame. That.
So for me, it's those three things really. That's what it boils down to.
Because there's been a lot of rumours that a Switch Pro or some kind of next an updated Switch is somewhere down the pipeline. Although Nintendo have been incredibly quiet regarding that, new hardware and everything else. And I was just about to say, and everything else this year, they have just been oddly quiet. I mean, obviously the COVID-19 pandemic hasn't been ideal for anybody in any industry, but there must be a lot that they were working on before this all happened that they could at least talk about. So if there were to be a Switch Pro, things that we would want from it would be Joy-Cons that don't break, at least a 1080p screen in handheld mode. Maybe, I mean, would you want something different with the dock itself? Would you want it to be slightly more robust or anything else from it?
The dock does the job that it does in that it holds the Switch and it does the switching element. So, and as I said, the problem with having outboard graphics processing is latency.
Yeah.
I would rather a Switch Pro just have an updated chip, maybe even be the same size. If they have to make it slightly bigger, that wouldn't bother me, but that would mean bigger Joy-Cons. So that would be too much cost.
Yeah.
That'd be for them and also for the consumer. So but I would like to see, slightly more better processing, the larger screen that takes over that entire front face, and that it just operates at 1080p, 60 FPS, or if it has to be 30, it has to be 30. That's fine.
Yeah.
Those would be definitely the main things, as well as updated Joy-Cons that can just work with both consoles, because they just need to sort that.
Yeah.
There's no question.
And
I'd also like to see a proper D-pad, which is what they put on the Switch Lite. Get rid of those 4 buttons on the left-hand side, put a proper D-pad in.
Yeah.
So if a Switch Plus or Switch Pro, whatever they call it, did those things, I'd be looking at one.
Yeah, I totally agree. I would also like some form of inbuilt voice support for just so I don't have to use my phone as an app to talk to people for games.
I forgot about that. That's trash. That app is
that kind of stuff.
Terrible.
Yeah, I think if you're playing in handheld mode, I should be able to plug in a headset straight into it and just talk to people in games via that. Or if I'm using the Pro controller, that should have a jack in it, like a lot of modern console controllers do. That kind of thing I'm even less hopeful for, because Nintendo just doesn't really have history of being particularly good at online support and online ecosystem. So I don't see that happening anytime soon, but, a boy can dream. And in terms of doing, existing alongside the PS5 and the Xbox Series X and the next generation, Nintendo aren't really part of the console war anymore. They're silently doing their own
generations.
thing. No, they haven't been, and in a way that it doesn't bother me, because I love a lot of what they do, but being a PC gamer, and me being an Xbox Series X gamer, you do come to expect certain things, and such as the headphone jack and just a base level of graphical fidelity or resolution, at least. So it does become hard not to make comparisons, but I do also just like to see Nintendo continuing to innovate and make the crazy Nintendo decisions that they make. I just want more of it. I'm just sick of silence, because I love this console, but currently I have no reason to pick it up because there aren't any new big games to play on it. It's all just the crap on the Nintendo eShop that just seems to be rubbish from everything that I look on it, and when I do check into it. So I'm kind of waiting with bated breath for any sort of announcements from Nintendo.
Yeah, I do feel like we've been fairly negative. I think actually it's probably fairly even between the negatives and positives. It's just that for me, a lot of the things we've discussed slightly override my will to play it, if that makes sense, which isn't a good thing. But as a piece of kit, it's lovely. I love the way those Joy-Cons click on. I love the way you can just pick it up and take it away. I like the minimalist UI. Yeah, even now I still feel like there haven't been enough big IPs that I'd want to pick up. Like I've held off Paper Mario because I don't like the battle system. I don't think the Yoshi game looked like my thing. The Kirby game I played the demo for, and it was just too simple. There was nothing really enough to draw me into playing it. Yeah. So, and they just keep bringing games forward back from the Wii U. So Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is quite a different game from Mario Kart 8 base game, but it's still an older game that's been brought forward. They just announced Pikmin 3, which was a Wii U game, so we're not even getting a new Pikmin.
No.
What else is there? There was the Donkey Kong game. There's been no new Donkey Kong games. It's just Tropical Freeze that still costs like 40 quid or whatever it is for an old game.
Having said all of that, they released Animal Crossing, which was to date probably the most talked about game of the year, I would say. So, that was a huge smash for them, and has sold an insane amount.
Yeah, absolutely. But getting one big game a year isn't really good enough. No, of course. It's not good enough. No, I totally agree with you. And the third party thing, the store has zero management. They basically just allow anything and anyone to post games. So you've got a lot of these anime hentai pornographic games that are just dating sims that are on there that just just seems really inappropriate. And you've just got loads of bloatware crappy mobile games that shouldn't be there. There's no review system, so we can't even like downvote them, so you can clearly see like what people have been playing. You might find, because there might be gems in there, we won't find them because there's no filtering.
It's just impossible to see them.
There might be great little games in there that are only like £4 or £5 that like get like 5 stars and have had hundreds of reviews. We'll never know because there's no review system.
No. The amount of times I've gone onto that eShop and I've literally looked for a filter that's just like good games.
Yeah.
But there's just nothing. It's just
there's
genre
no way to,
and if it's on sale.
Yeah, there's just no way to like filter it down, and like you just have to like hold down the Joy-Con if it's working to scroll down a ginormous list of games that like all just look like shit because they're just bloatware.
Yeah.
So they really need to get a handle on that.
Because that's the thing, like, if I'm going to get a new indie game that everyone is hyped about, I'm going to get it on the Switch because I think it's such a good place to play indie, smaller, you know, drop in, drop out titles like Enter the Gungeon. I think it is such a good platform for those type of games. It's just finding them. Like stuff like Hollow Knight, I absolutely love that game, and playing it on the Switch was so perfect because it's not necessarily the type of game I'm going to sit and it's not necessarily the type of game that I'm going to sit and play for 4 hours straight. It's the type of game that I want to drop into for half an hour, do a little bit of, and that kind of thing. And I think the Switch is perfect for that. It's just finding those gems, finding those little, other than word of mouth, it just is very difficult to do it, sadly.
Yeah, and also in terms of like the third-party support, obviously the console being less powerful, we tend to get ported games from you know, up 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So it was like kind of nice to see Dark Souls remastered on there. Because I'm such a fan of the game, I bought it on there. That runs great, but obviously it's like 2011 or something. I can't quite remember.
Yes.
So we're not really seeing like big third-party titles. Like for some reason, they did a version of The Witcher 3 and Wolfenstein 2 and things like that, and Doom 2016. It is great to see these games, but they're just games I'm not likely to play on it because in handheld mode the screen is too small for me personally, and graphically it's just like, well, I have a PC and you have an Xbox, like I'd rather play it at higher fidelity and spend time with the game, you know, sat down. So it's Switch ownership is an interesting place to be because I love the console and I love Smash Bros. Ultimate. I love Mario Kart. I love dipping into exactly what you said, dipping into these Hollow Knight and Rogue Legacy and all these other little games and things like that. But it's difficult to love when I feel like they aren't really like bringing some of the games forward that we'd love to see. They're not managing the store properly. Voice chat isn't a thing. There's been no UI update over 3 years. And also there are just no apps. I don't need Facebook, Twitter on it, but I feel like that is kind of a standard now, regardless of whether you use it or not. They got YouTube, but that's it. I find it weird that there's just, they've not really brought any support forward for like even just Netflix. Like, because if I'm out and about, I'm not going to bust out my laptop on a train, to be honest with you. I'm just going to watch it on my iPhone 8, which is a small screen. Yeah. If it had it on Switch, I would download from Netflix and watch it on there. What a perfect little boy to watch that on.
Yeah.
So I'm consistently just baffled by the lack of pushing for these apps and things, and just feeling like they're fully supporting their own console.
Yeah.
And constantly bringing back old games rather than new ones is also a little bit of a shame. So I just want to see more. I want to see more hustle and bustle from Nintendo themselves, really, just to drum up a little bit more excitement. We're still here. We're still popping. So that's how I feel about it at the moment. I would say it's hard to love, but I still love it.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely love the Switch, but I feel as though they came out, took one step forward, and since then they've taken 2 steps back and they've gone dead quiet, and we just need a little bit more support. But that's what we think. How about we check out what some of our listeners think of the old Nintendo Switch? First off, we've got a friend of the show, friend of us in person, our good friend Jiggy. He's sent in a 10-page epic about his thoughts about the Nintendo Switch. Shall I just rattle it off?
Yeah, I'd just read the whole thing. Like,
let's do it. I'm well up for it. Jiggy, mate, thanks for sending this in. Here we go. I would say with some confidence that the Switch is the best console. First off, I don't know if he means of Nintendo's of all time. I wouldn't be surprised if he means of all time. After 3 years, it's difficult to dispute the quality of the first-party lineup that they brought out, considering Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey, Fire Emblem, Mario Maker 2, Mario Kart, Smash Brothers, Animal Crossing, etc. What's funny is that while Microsoft and Sony compete with next-gen consoles and argue about who will have better exclusives, Nintendo are smashing it on the exclusives front. The only disappointment was Pokemon, but I believe that Game Freak has been dwindling in quality for a while and attribute that to the company, not to Nintendo or the Switch. Not only first-party titles, but the indie selection easily rivals the PlayStation selection now. And even though indie titles are cheaper on PC, I would argue that Switch is the best console to play the titles on, given the portability, e.g. Hollow Knight, Slay the Spire, Gungeon. Couldn't agree with you more there, Jigs. It's just kind of incredible that Nintendo have managed to put so many titles on a portable machine that delivers fairly quality visuals. Although the Joy-Cons are bad for some genres, it'd be hard to argue that they make up for it with their functionality. What I am most upset about with Nintendo 4, despite the cheapness of the online service, is the fact that they haven't properly figured out communication and online gaming platforms. I think they should mix the functionality of Microsoft's Xbox Online communication with Sony's strong server dedication. It would also be easy to say that I wish there was a Switch Pro or something, but actually, in a world where Microsoft and Sony compete for power, both in market and in hardware, Nintendo does a fantastic job of realizing that they've developed a product that is unrivaled and high quality. Props to Nintendo, I would say.
Yeah, he's absolutely smashed this out of the park. And I said this in the previous podcast. He always comes out with something where it's just like on the money. And this Jiggy, on the money. Apart from Switch being the best console, we'll have to clarify what you mean by that. That is bold.
It's a hugely bold comment.
But that aside, absolutely on the money here. Just I don't really have anything to add because it's spot on.
I think he's so right, especially what he's saying about it not having to compete with Xbox and Sony. It's running its own race, and he is right in that the first party titles are some of the best out there. Full stop. It's just a shame that now we've seen the iterations of all of these IPs, these first party IPs for the Switch. Now we're just sat here twiddling our thumbs until they put the sequels out to them. That's kind of Nintendo's problem.
Don't bring back some of their others, which they just don't seem. They seem to be scared of it. I don't know why.
Yeah,
and also just bringing back old games from previous consoles rather than bringing out new stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Even remaster some games. They are doing that with Mario. But there are. I would love to see Lilac Wars back. Just do a completely fresh version of that. I'd play the heck out of that. So
we've sworn a lot on this.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know why I stopped myself. I felt like it's bad.
Because we're talking about Nintendo. That's why. Because it's a kiddie vibe.
But it's a different vibe in your head. A quick one from Chaz on Facebook. Who is Chaz?
Chaz is a good friend of mine from my uni days. Chaz Redhead. He's a streamer on Twitch as well. So definitely go check him out. He's a very funny man. Did lots of comedy shows with him at uni, and he's out there doing funny stuff on Twitch as well. So make sure you track down Chaz Redhead on Twitch.
Sick. He has said, lockdown has made me appreciate it more. Portable device and a killer selection of indie games as well as exclusives. Have some issues with the vaporware plugging up in the eShop and lack of sales for first-party games, but overall, I love it. Currently playing through LA Noire, in exclamation points. The game that came on 2 discs for Xbox 360 on a tiny cart, and playing The Witcher 3 on the go is fantastic. So, yeah, a different take from what I said in the past. I wouldn't play The Witcher 3 on the go on that thing, but that's just me.
Yeah.
Because it's one of those genuinely fantastic looking games that I want to play in high fidelity in 2K. At over 60 FPS on max settings, looking into the distance. I'm not going to do that on Switch.
No.
I have LA Noire on Switch as well. I decided to pick it up, and it's great fun.
Yeah. I think that's it. I think I played Witcher 3 on Xbox, and obviously it looked amazing, but I I think I would still be playing it if I had it on the Switch, just because of those moments where I am out on the go to just be like, oh, I'm going to dip in and do a side quest or whatever. Whereas now that I've finished it on Xbox, I don't really want to go back into it. I just want to find my next big narrative thing. But if I did have it on Switch, it would be it's just a world that is, because I don't really have any, apart from Breath of the Wild, I don't really have any big open world RPG games on the Switch. And I think if it does run as well as some people are saying, it's, more than serviceable, I think I would be interested to see how The Witcher 3 runs on it, because I would like to do it sometime. Cheers, Chaz.
The next one is a friend of mine, Charlie Neville. Do you want to read what he says?
Yeah. Charlie Neville, Big Chazza Nevs, says, I love the Switch. It's genuinely incredible kit. Just having Smash Bros on it would be enough for me, but it's so good for traveling. I'm always inclined to play indies more on the Switch than PC. It's just easier and the exclusives are always fire. I wish I played it more, but that's on me. Also, clean up the damn store. Far too much shit on it. But as far as the online, when you consider the library of That's right. But as far as the online, when you consider the library of games you get for the price, it's a hidden gem. Bring back F-Zero, you cowards. Yeah, that's full caps lock there. Charlie, agree with you again there. It seems as though a common theme seems to be a lot of anger about the eShop and how it's filled with crud. So Nintendo, if you're listening, sort yourselves out there. And a shout out to F-Zero as well. That's a good shout. It's a little bit more of a serious racing game from Nintendo as opposed to your Mario Kart, where it's all about chucking weapons and giving each other the side eye as you pass each other. I'd be well up for a new F-Zero on Switch and seeing what that would be like. Yeah,
that'd be cool. I'd like to see that back. It's just one of those ones they just don't bring back. Star Fox, F-Zero, don't know what's going on there. I know what he means about being more inclined to play indies on Switch. I'm the same. The only issue is you can get most of those games for like £1 on Steam, so I end up playing them there sometimes.
The price is a barrier.
So unfortunately, just stuff comes over to the Switch and they decide, ooh, this is an old game. How much is it on Steam? £1? Now, make it 20.
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
Yeah.
Next up is a friend of ours, Joe Novelli, or Novs, as we call him. He has said, biggest pro for me is defo the fact I can pick it up and keep playing. I'm a bit anal about not missing bits of dialogue, etc. in games, and if I was playing on a fixed console, I would usually turn a story-led game off if someone came into the room to do something, as I'd be worried I'd get too distracted. With the Switch, I just undock it and go elsewhere and keep playing. Biggest con for me is the game pricing, particularly old titles that are expensive because they are now portable. Oh, and it also was qual that I could buy Warriors Orochi on the Japanese store to scratch that itch when there was no Dynasty Warriors on the UK store. Since then, there's now been Dynasty Warriors 8 brought forward, and also Warriors Orochi 4 that we both enjoy a lot.
Novs there revealing his hacking skills, hacking his way into the Japanese mainframe. Yeah, I agree with what he says there. I think he's touched on something that we haven't really mentioned so far, it is that I still haven't got over that feeling of if it is docked to the TV and someone comes in the room and they're like, I want to watch CBeebies. It's the same guy from the Works in Game earlier on. I want to watch CBeebies. If he comes in, you just pull it out and then that's it. You can just carry on playing it. And I think that is incredible and something that they nailed so well. And I think seeing them do that in the trailer for the Switch way back in the day, I was generally thinking, wow, it's not going to work that quickly, is it? It's definitely not going to be like that. And it is. They nailed it. Well done, Nintendo.
Absolutely right. Steffi on Twitter. You want to read this out?
Yes, I will. Cheers for reaching out, Steffi. Steffi says, absolutely love my Switches, plural. I have 2 so I can visit my other island on Animal Crossing. That's great. I used to have a Vita. Shame Sony didn't develop it more, but the Switch was always going to be the handheld to covet. Only thing I miss from the 3DS is the Street Pass. That was fun. I never owned a 3DS, so never got involved in the Street Pass thing. Is that where if someone's near you, you could interact with them and trade stuff?
I was really close to buying a 3DS up until the Switch got announced, and I was like, see ya. What's this thing?
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
So Street Pass, automatically searches for and exchanges data with like other 3DS systems that are nearby, and basically you could like exchange your like me character with someone across Street Pass just by like walking past them. So it's a fun little thing that went on the old 3DS. So thanks for shouting that out, Steffi, and thanks for getting in touch. And the final word, Mark, goes to our boy, once again, the singer of our theme tune earlier. It's Lawal. What did he have to say?
He has said, I've really enjoyed having access to full-fledged gaming experiences whilst on the go. Over the 3 years, I've barely touched the dock. Even with the Joy-Con drift issues, it has been the platform I've consistently managed to use to get my regular gaming fix. How do I know this? There's a parental controls app which lets you monitor your monthly habits and ranks your games in order of playtime. If you ever wanted to have words with yourself about your gaming habits, the Switch and your inevitable growing backlog of discounted downloaded titles will be waiting patiently in the wings. What do you think someone's longest total playtime screen says about them? He's added as a little question at the end.
Well, it probably tells you that you need to get outdoors much, which will be the case for me and you, Mark, if you looked at our playtime. But it depends what games it's been showing up for a lot.
I think if you're playing those hentai games, then that says a lot.
Yeah, I'd be doubly worried about you, Mark, if I looked on your playtime and it was all the hentai weird sim dating games.
Hey, man, what are you playing? Oh, I'll just unplug my headphones.
Oh, yeah. How like Nintendo is the sort of company that you associate more with kiddie-friendly titles, and the fact that those games are on the eShop is just, and they're not even on the Xbox game shop. Like, what's going on there? In general, though, what Luke said there, it's kind of echoed with a lot of people saying, kind of agrees with me more, I guess, in terms of I used it more as an on-the-go gaming device that didn't use the dock very much, but it's a really good console, and we really enjoy it. I know we've said a lot of negative things about the Switch here. I feel as though if we had done this,
it's frustration.
It's frustrating, and annoyingly, it is the age-old Nintendo problem, really kind of rearing its ugly head once again. That we thought at the end of the first year and a half of the Switch's life cycle, we thought Nintendo are back. And they are smashing it. But sadly, it's sort of going back to their old ways again of making strange decisions and announcing Paper Mario over a tweet out of nowhere, and just weird things like that, and just basically
mini directs with cartoon versions of wrestling and Pokemon teeth brushing games.
Yeah,
it's not on really.
Yeah,
it's not enough.
They've gone a bit odd, and Nintendo of 3 years ago, we want you back. We want you back big time, okay? We want to see Breath of the Wild 2. We want to see what new stuff you've got working on down there in your little factories. We want to see Metroid Prime 4. We want to see it all. Just give us a little taste, or make us believe in you once again. Make me pick up that beautiful little console. Thank you to everyone who got in touch with us there about your Nintendo Switch experiences. We've had a lot of really, really great feedback there. So thank you so much to everyone who took the time out to get in touch. Obviously, we will, as soon as there is any new Nintendo news of any kind, there are always rumors about a new Nintendo Direct somewhere around the corner. It's always fun looking online and seeing the list of fake games that someone is claiming to be in the next Direct. But we will obviously let you all know as soon as we know anything about stuff that's going on. But if you're listening to this podcast and you own a Nintendo Switch, don't feel afraid don't feel afraid. That's not what I meant to say. Don't feel afraid.
Don't feel afraid.
What I meant was just email in. Let us know your thoughts. What was I trying to say? Don't feel afraid.
I don't know. Don't feel afraid.
Don't worry. Don't I can't even. Don't hold back. I guess. Just email us in. Let us know what you think about the Nintendo Switch. What you'd love to see come to that little console, and what you hope the future for it will be. That's kind of my message for you all today, I suppose.
Yeah, do that. That email is pushingbuttonspod@gmail.com. Pushing buttons, pod@gmail.com. Nearly didn't get through that second one for some reason.
I thought you were going to say no spaces, no gappings.
Yes, and if thank you for all your emails, and thank you for tuning in. If you're downloading on either Spotify or listening on YouTube or the Apple Podcast app, we do appreciate everyone that's listening, and thank you very much. Tune in next week for more game chat and tomfoolery. Until then,
thanks so much for listening, everybody. We've been pushing buttons, and goodbye, Nintendo.
here's Croc.